Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. I'd like to bring you an update to the story of a Southfield, Michigan young lady, 20 years of age, who was found in a Detroit funeral home alive. And this is the said update to that said information. If you need verification for the source, WXYZ is the source. Also, there's a video inside of this article, and you can verify the said information in conjunction with what I'm saying. But let me say this. She is still alive. She is on a respirator. She is in critical condition. She's only allowed one visit for an hour by family members. This is a harrowing tale of a young lady who was pronounced dead at her home by Southfield, Michigan EMTs and a physician at a hospital. And I'm going to bring you the said information. But as I state, she is currently alive on a respirator at a hospital, taken from the funeral home because they realized she was alive, and she's in critical condition at the moment. And she is also a young lady who has cerebral palsy and had breathing troubles pertaining to her ailment, and was obviously having difficulty on that said morning when the police and the EMTs were called. We'll bring you more information once I'm done with the story. Attorney for woman found alive at Detroit funeral home. They were about to embalm her. Channel 7 ABC News, WXYZ is the source. A 20-year-old woman believed to have died was found breathing at a Detroit funeral home. They were about to embalm her, which is most frightening had she not had her eyes open. They would have begun draining her blood, to be very, very frank about it. Attorney Jeffrey Feiger, who has been hired by Timesha Beauchamp's family. We spoke with Timesha's mother, who said she's a beautiful, caring 20-year-old young lady who has a twin brother. On Sunday morning, Southfield Fire Department paramedics responded to a home for an unresponsive woman. When they arrived, the fire chief said Beauchamp wasn't breathing. After standard efforts to revive her, first responders determined after 30 minutes that she was deceased. Because there was no indication of foul play, as per standard operating procedure, the Oakland County Medical Examiner's Office was contacted and given the medical data. The patient was again determined to have expired, and the body was released directly to the family to make arrangements with the funeral home for their choosing, the chief said in a statement. Hours later, staff at the James H. Cole Funeral Home realized Beauchamp was still breathing. It's one of people's worst nightmares to imagine having an ambulance called and instead sending you off to a funeral home in a body bag. The funeral home unzipping the body bag. Literally, that's what happened to Timesha, and seeing her alive with her eyes open, said Feiger. It is still unclear what led up to the call for the unresponsive woman. Feiger said Beauchamp's godmother, a registered nurse, was there and told EMS she felt a pulse. Feiger says the 1.5-hour delay Beauchamp encountered by going to the funeral home instead of going to the hospital may be critical to her recovery. What did this delay do in terms of Timesha's health for the rest of her life? He said. Timesha is in critical condition at the Sinai Grace Hospital and is on a ventilator. A local emergency department physician pronounced the patient deceased based upon, medical information provided by the Southfield Fire Department at the scene, after which the Southfield Police Department contacted the Oakland County Medical Examiner's Office to notify them of the findings. An ongoing forensic pathologist released the body to the family. The Southfield Fire and Police Departments followed all appropriate city, county, and state protocols and procedures in this case. The City of Southfield is currently conducting a thorough internal investigation in addition to the Oakland County Medical Control Authority, OCMCA, which will be reporting their findings to the State of Michigan Bureau of EMS, Trauma and Preparedness, BETP. In an effort to provide as much transparency as possible, more information will be provided as it is available. As far as the Southfield Fire Department, a spokesman for the Oakland County Medical Examiner's Office said they did not go to pick up the body for an autopsy based on information provided to them by Southfield Police about the woman's medical history and that no foul play was suspected. And that is the said information coming out of the Detroit, Southfield, Michigan area. Channel 7 ABC News, WXYZ is the source. Where do I begin? So as I state, the young lady is currently alive, critical condition, on a ventilator. A nurse, her cousin, registered nurse, was at the scene at the time when the initial call went in to EMS, which was about 7:30 that morning. She tells them that she felt a pulse. She believed she was still alive. The police told her no, she is dead. That young lady sat in a body bag for at least 2.5 hours inside of that home until the funeral home came. Southfield, Michigan is 18 minutes from Detroit, Michigan. And that's not counting how far into Detroit the funeral home was. So imagine the young lady is alive in a bag, in a body bag in her own house, declared dead. Her own cousin, who's a registered nurse, says she saw her move. The police and EMS tell her no, that's the medicine that was given to her by the EMTs. That's a reaction. But now we know she was alive all along in that bag, still breathing, waiting to be picked up from the funeral home. It is alleged that the funeral home did not pick her up until about 11:25. That's counting 7:30 initial call to EMT, 11:25 being picked up by the Detroit Funeral Home, taken to Detroit. Embalmer on site. Embalmer is the one who opened the bag. Notice that this young lady's eyes were open and she was breathing, and then he called paramedics to take her to the hospital. And of course, family can only visit 1 hour a day due to COVID guidelines. This is atrocious. Fire Department of Southfield has not reached out to the family for commentary, condolences, anything. So I don't know what's going on with them. But I'm trying to turn this off so it makes so much noise. But Southfield Fire Department has not reached out. Medical examiner is also saying that they did not sign on to the death. So some physician at the hospital made the call to say that she was dead. I repeat, the medical examiner, Southfield, Michigan, has said they did not sign on for the death of this young lady. So some physician signed on from the EMT's information and data and history of the young lady. And that's the said information coming from the attorney, and you will see that in the said video of this Channel 7 News. You can watch it. It's about 21 minutes long. It's kind of swirled around, a few minutes before shutting down. So you all can go in and verify the said information to get the said update pertaining to this young lady. But this is sad that she sat in her house for hours. A family member who's a registered nurse said she was living, alive. A police officer says no. EMT calls a medical doctor because this is protocol, because they didn't suspect foul play. A medical examiner didn't sign on, so they spoke to some physician, and the lawyer in this video says they don't even know who and which doctor signed off on the death. How about that? And this lawyer has been hired. He is currently investigating this case to see if there was negligence on the part of the EMT, the fire department, medical examiner, and now we have a problem. That's why I told you all in the video yesterday, I thought it was odd that the medical examiner is telling the news people, don't call us, don't ask us nothing, we ain't got nothing to say, because they are claiming they're not the ones who signed off on the girl's death. That a physician in the hospital, and we don't even know who that physician is, and I'm waiting to see if that physician is going to say, yeah, it was me, or did the EMT lie and just said, she dead, this is it. Y'all want to call the funeral home for your loved one? And that's the end of that. No protocol, no nothing. So let's see if the EMT is going to claim who they spoke to at the hospital. Let's see if there's going to be a hospital physician to say, yes, I'm the one who signed off on the death. And let's see if the medical examiner is going to continue to say they never signed off on her death. This is a horrific story. 7:30 in the morning, called. 11:25, the funeral home from Detroit picks her up. That is almost 4 hours of trying to revive her, putting her in the bag, her lying in the bag, funeral home picking her up, 18-minute or longer drive to Detroit, depending on traffic or whatever how long it took to get to the said location in Detroit, and the embalmer opening the bag and finding this young lady alive. God rest her. Excuse me. Have mercy. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. But you understand what I'm saying. This is horrific. Young lady suffering from cerebral palsy, having breathing difficulties, declared dead in her own home, finally gets to the funeral home, and she is alive. This is atrocious. This is atrocious to me. And everybody can try to pass the buck and say, oh, I thought she was dead. I thought she was dead. No, I didn't sign off on the paperwork. It wasn't me. Oh, I don't know. I ain't got nothing to say. Ain't got no comment. Well, you can take all that BS and give it to the attorney, because the family has hired an attorney. And that's who you'll be giving all your lame ass excuses to. Because this is ridiculous that you did not know that she was alive. And as the attorney said, imagine had the embalmer just went on about his way and started putting in tubes and this and that and draining blood from the girl's body. Can you imagine that? I'd say she probably would be moving and twitching. Sure enough. This is horrible. Horrible and heinous. Drop your comments below and tell me what you think about this said story. Prayers for this young lady that she pulls through. A lot of time went by with her being, with the EMS being called, trying to revive her. The hours she sat in the bag. The drive to Detroit from Southfield, Michigan. Then the next drive for the EMT to come get her. Then back to the hospital. That took valuable time off of her condition. And who's to say, had she not went straight to the hospital when the nurse cousin said she's breathing, perhaps she would be in a better situation than being on a respirator right now. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below. Thanks for joining me. Have a safe week. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Bye-bye.